Welcome back to our special election coverage here at CBNNews.com. I'm Mark Martin. We're breaking into our regular programming on the CBN News channel to bring you an update on the battle to control the U.S. Senate. That's the top prize in today's election. Democrats currently control it 53 seats to the Republicans' 45 seats. Plus, they have the support of 2 independents who vote with the Democratic caucus. That means Republicans need to take 6 seats from Democrats to win control. In Kentucky, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has held on to his seat. He faced a tough challenge from Democrat Allison Lundergan Grimes. Early polls had Democrats nearly ecstatic that they could knock off the Senate Minority Leader. But McConnell fought back and held on to the lead. Grimes unintentionally captured headlines by refusing to tell a reporter if she voted for Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012. Like many candidates, she was trying to run away from Obama's negative job approval numbers. And joining us now with more is CBN News senior political editor John Wagge. Welcome back, John.
Thank you, Mark.
Good to have you on the program. Now, we're looking for early signs of whether Republicans are on track to take back the Senate. What are you watching for?
Well, the results are so early right now, Mark. One of the things I'm looking for is that they were able to call Mitch McConnell's race almost immediately after the polls closed, and that tells me that it could be a big night for the Republican Party. McConnell, of course, will be majority leader if the Republicans do get the 6 seats to take back the Senate. And I think that even though Grimes made it close for a period of months, even a couple months, that McConnell pulled away at the end, and it was very early in the evening that they were able to call the race for him. Now, a couple other races in South Carolina, which were expected to go the Republicans' way. 2 senators have been reelected, and Governor Nikki Haley, all Republicans, all in a red state. But again, as soon as the polls closed, they were called. So it looks like it's shaping up to be a night that the Republicans will be happy with.
To bode well for the GOP. Well, John, exit polls show that voters are unhappy with the president. We've known that, and the GOP. And just 1 out of 5 voters say they trust the government to do what's right. Does that tell you anything about how the results might play out?
Well, it tells us that there's a lot of voter dissatisfaction, and that should hurt the Democrats because they're in the White House and they control the Senate. But the fact is that there's a lot of anti-incumbency feeling that could knock off some Republicans as well. So you can't say it's a blanket good news for the GOP, but when only 1 in 5 voters trust the government to do what's right, it's the party in power at the White House that basically pays the consequences for that.
Has the most to lose.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
And while we're waiting for the results to come in, we thought we'd take a quick look at some of the best and worst campaign ads of this election. In the Iowa Senate race, Republican Joni Ernst climbed to fame with a brilliant primary ad. It cites her experience castrating hogs on a farm as evidence she knows where to cut pork in Washington. Take a look.
I'm Joni Ernst. I grew up castrating hogs on an Iowa farm. So when I get to Washington, I'll know how to cut pork.
Joni Ernst, mother, soldier, conservative.
My parents taught us to live within our means. It's time to force Washington to do the same. To cut wasteful spending, repeal Obamacare, and balance the budget. I'm Joni Ernst, and I approve this message because Washington's full of big spenders. Let's make them squeal.
Well, that's seen as one of the most influential ads, but one of the worst ads came from the Democrat candidate for governor in Texas, Wendy Davis. Some called it sleazy for trying to turn her opponent's disability into a campaign issue.
A tree fell on Greg Abbott. He sued and got millions. Since then, he spent his career working against other victims. Abbott argued a woman whose leg was amputated was not disabled because she had an artificial limb. He ruled against a rape victim who sued a corporation for failing to do a background check on a sexual predator. He sided with a hospital that failed to stop a dangerous surgeon who paralyzed patients. Greg Abbott, he's not for you.
All right, John, what did you think? What role did those ads play in the races in Iowa and Texas?
Well, I think the race in Iowa was much more significant. First of all, Joni Ernst was somebody who nobody had heard of as she went into the primary season. She ran that ad. It vaulted her to the victory in the Republican primary and then has stood her in good stead all the way through the summer months and into the fall against her opponent, Bruce Braley. So that ad was truly one that put her on the map. As far as the Texas ad goes, that was one unfortunate misstep in a series of unfortunate missteps. Wendy Davis did not run a good campaign. Of course, the race isn't over at this point, but she's trailing by a significant margin against Greg Abbott, and that was one of the lows of the campaign season, no doubt about it. So.
Okay.
And there were a whole gamut of commercials in between that were run all over the country from coast to coast, good and bad.
Those ads can really make a difference.
Lots of negative ads, of course, but that happens every campaign season, and we'll all be very happy to be done with them.
We sure
in
will
just
be.
a few hours.
You're right. Thank you, John.
Sure.
We'll stay with CBN News all night for updates right here on our news channel. We'll be live at 15 minutes after the hour and at 15 minutes before, or watch on demand anytime. Plus, we'll have more reporting on CBNnews.com and on our special election page, including a live Twitter feed for you to follow the tweets by our reporters. And our news team here in the CBN News studios and in our Washington bureau will also be posting updates on Facebook. You can follow us at hashtag CBN Election 2014. We'll be back at 7:45 with the latest on some of the races. Meantime, stay with us online for continuous updates.